It's so early, but it's gonna be totally worth it. Look at this. I hope I don't miss the bus. Oh man, I'm really tired. This week has been brutal. Lots of photography early in the morning, lots of photography late in the evening. Very fun, but very, very little sleep. After months of photography within basically the same 3 to 4 square miles, I wanted to switch things up a little bit. So I've been commuting to downtown every morning to capture that part of town as it wakes up. It's not an environment I'm used to, the subjects are very different from what I usually shoot, so it's been a lot of fun. But it is important to me to be there early to get the best light and to avoid the crowds. I like to shoot in the morning no matter what, but that is especially true in places like this one because it is very calm and peaceful right now, but this is gonna be pretty busy and chaotic soon enough. I took a good picture here the other day. Hopefully you can see that window there and a door, and downtown is in the background, even though it's a little bit foggy today, but a cool image I made here. Pretty cool place. These steep streets never get old. It's just crazy. Look at that. Crazy. I mean, they have stairs on the sidewalk. It might not look that steep on camera, but believe me, it is. Looks like you can just tip it over. I love the contrast between the single family home and the big building in the background. So usually you'd get a pretty nice view from up here. Don't quote me on this, but I think this is called Russian Hill, and there is a very nice view of downtown from here. And I know that because this is my 4th time, I believe, here this week for sunrise. We are not gonna get that view today, but thankfully I have some footage and some images I made from here in the last few days. I did have clear sunrises with a good visibility of downtown and the Bay Bridge, but the best ones happened when I had some fog. Those were the most breathtaking mornings. Alright, so I want to take this shot here with that tree and the building in the background, but for that I'm going to have to switch lenses, and this could be a good opportunity to show you what I'm shooting with today. As usual, I'm shooting with my A7R4 with the 28 to 200 millimeter zoom, super zoom, and then I also have today the Tamron 17 to 28 for scenes like this one that I have right here. By the way, these apartments here, that building, there's another building over there, and these ones over here must have one of the best views in San Francisco, a 360 view. Alright, so it's way too foggy up there, I can't see anything, so I'm walking down now. I'm gonna go to downtown, Chinatown, those kind of areas. So I'm gonna switch to a more POV style of video, with my action camera instead of this one. Oh, that's a Waymo. It's looking beautiful, very foggy, and one of the compositions that I'm going to be using quite a lot is to find an interesting foreground, like that building, and then a bigger building in the background, kind of disappearing in the distance because of the fog. Okay, and one of such subjects is that church right there. All right. So somehow I managed to mess up the audio for the footage that I took with my action camera. I don't even know how I did that. I believe it was the cable I used to plug the microphone into the camera. No matter what happened, it sounds pretty awful. So from here, I'm going to be adding some commentary and voiceover on the worst parts. Let's go back to the video. Okay, and so here I was trying to make an image of that church that you see there with a high-rise building in the background. I thought that those two elements, those two towers, would make for a good contrast, for a good image. I tried a few different compositions and I like them, but I don't love them. I just don't think this worked out as well as I thought it would. I remember this spot. I was here like a week ago at night or in the evening. That light was on and you could see the, what's the name? The Trans-America building, the pyramid in the background. Cool shot here. So one of the reasons why I've been loving coming to downtown almost every day this week is because of the totally different climate that you get over there compared to my neighborhood, to where I live and where I do most of my photography. You see, San Francisco can have wildly different weather depending on which part of town you are. The western part of the city gets a lot of fog because of the proximity to the ocean. I live around here and this area is usually one of the first ones to be swallowed by the fog, but that happens less and less the farther east you go, and downtown is as far east as you can go in the peninsula. So there can be, and there usually is, heavy fog here where I live while the sun is shining in downtown. And even when there's fog in downtown, it usually clears within 2 to 3 hours after sunrise, which can make for very dramatic conditions as the sun is still rising behind the tall buildings and it's interacting with those remaining layers of fog. That's what I was trying to show here. The sun was behind the buildings, but the fog was just too thick that morning to allow for any dramatic lighting. Okay, so I just saw this white building with those windows, and we have the other building that is kind of similar because it's white with the dark windows as well in the background. I'm gonna try to capture a photo of those two, contrasting those two buildings, one against each other. I tried a few different compositions here as well, trying to balance both buildings in the frame, giving more weight to the one in the foreground, giving more space to the one in the background, creating more negative space, all of that. The one thing that was getting on my way here were the power lines, and many times I just, embrace them because they can add to a photograph, but in this case there was a single cable cutting through the middle of the frame. And no, I couldn't avoid it because that was the composition I liked, so I removed it in Lightroom. Then I used masks and curves to emphasize the contrast I was going for, as I explained in my ebook, Creative Black and White Editing in Lightroom. You can check it out following the link in the description down below. I usually shoot in environments that are very different from a downtown of a big city. I'm not used to having so many people around me. It's not a huge deal, and this person was nice enough to wait for me to take the photo. Anyway, here I was showcasing one of the reasons why I love having a high resolution camera and a super zoom lens. I already have a long reach of up to 200 millimeters with the Tamron lens, but switching to APS-C mode makes that 300 millimeters and still produces a 26 megapixel file. I do take advantage of this very often, like in this image, which I love, by the way. We are traveling back in time now. This was the day before at the very same location. The fog was much thinner though, and the light was very dramatic, as you can probably see. What I like the most has to be the shadows, the light and the buildings were creating on the fog. That's what I was trying to capture here in this alley. The Transamerica building creating that shadow in the sky. This is another composition contrasting a building in the foreground against a bigger one in the distance. Very subtle because of the fog. This one has to be one of my favorites. It's a combination of both ideas, the foreground versus the background, but in this case, the American flag was cast in the shadow. It was beautiful. I had to use an ND filter at some point because the aperture was getting too small. There was a lot of light, it was very bright. It's not so much that I was worried about diffraction or anything like that. I was actually concerned about all the dust and dirt spots on my sensor that show up when you take photos at a very narrow aperture. My camera sensor really needs a cleaning. As you can see, the fog was moving really fast, and that made for quite a few different images. I hope you are enjoying the video. If that's the case, I would really appreciate it if you could just take 1 second to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't. And if you love my work and want to support it financially, you can purchase one of my ebooks, physical books, or prints on my website. Or even better, you can join our community over on Patreon, where I go a little bit deeper on all the topics that I talk about here on this channel. Today, I want to thank the support from 3 of my Patreons: Cora Cornell from Portland, Oregon, Brian Lackey from Seattle, Washington, and Steve Bennett from the UK. They are incredibly talented photographers, and you should check out their websites and Instagram accounts to enjoy their photography. I really like the San Francisco sweater with the for rent sign there. Usually try to take the shots wider than I think I need them, because I can always crop, especially as I said with a high resolution camera. It's not always possible, but whenever I can. At this point, and because the fog was lingering around longer than I thought, I decided to get closer to the buildings that I couldn't see from far away. Like this one that immediately caught my attention. I loved those figures on the roof and the fact that the building behind it was almost gone in the fog. And then some birds flew by and I knew I needed to get a shot with some birds in it. Thankfully, it didn't take very long. Nice, not high enough though. There you go. My next subject was the Transamerica building. There weren't many options other than going around it, walking around it, trying different angles and using the other buildings or power lines, signs as compositional elements. I think that this one from here, including those two buildings, might be the best angle. Well, actually that was much better than I thought. That was my first time photographing that building from up close, and it was cool. So what I'm trying to do now is to capture that building there. I'm gonna place it on the bottom left of the frame, just like that. And I'm gonna wait. There's not gonna be anything else in the frame, but I'm gonna wait for a bird or a group of birds to fly by to complement that building. I had to wait a little bit longer this time, but I finally got my bird, even if just a very small one. There we go, there we go, there we go. Not at the right spot, but maybe now. Come on. Come closer. It's like the Statue of Liberty here. At that point, I was pretty much starting to head out of downtown. I was feeling very tired, but on my way out, I found a few more compositions. Maybe that other ladder there will work better. Yeah, I think so. That is beautiful. I don't know what those are called, but it looks pretty cool with that other church and the buildings in the background. I have to capture this. And then that street lamp there too. Very, very cool. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it a morning. I've been walking around for more than 3 hours. I didn't sleep that much, and even though I had breakfast before coming here, I'm already hungry. So I'm gonna get in the bus, and this is my bus, I believe. Yep. All right, I'm back in the neighborhood. As you can see, so beautiful over here, but I'm too tired to do anything right now. I'm gonna go home, have some more food, take a long nap, and get ready because there's gonna be more photography to be done tonight in another iconic place in this city, but that will be for a different video. I hope this video was fun and that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.